Hello, welcome back to PLSQL tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about visibility of package. So essentially visibility rules of package. Okay, so this is the package we have created in our last video, where package name is demo package. We have two functions and one procedure, and inside this package body we define those functions and procedures. All right, so what you are seeing here is a subset of what we can do. So what I'm going to show you here in this video, what kind of functions, what kind of procedures, what kind of constants, what kind of variable that we can have in package, and what we can do with those variables and what we cannot do with those variables. So these things are very intuitive and you can just figure it out yourself. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to summarize those intuitions in one video. Alright, so this is what a more generic package is going to look like. What I'm saying is, I have a package named xyz. I have a variable x number which is assigned to 10. What this is called, this is called a global variable. So global package variable. And then what I have seen, I just shown that I have a function f1, I have procedure p1, p2. So don't worry about syntax. I just want to give you a concept here and not worried about syntax. So what I have said in my package xyz specification, that I have a global variable x which is called packaged variable, and I am going to have implementation of one function f1 and two procedure p1 and p2. Then inside the package body I have defined another variable, and this variable is called private variable. Okay, so this is a private variable. That means this variable is accessible inside the package body. Then what I have defined here, I have defined function f1 here. So what this function f1 here is basically a public function. Okay, so this is a public function, this is a public procedure, this is a public procedure, and those public functions and procedures are implemented inside the package body as shown here. So this is the definition of package of function f1. Similarly, this is the definition of procedure p1, and if you see inside this procedure p1, I have another variable a, and this variable is called local variable. Okay, and this local variable is only valid for this procedure p1. Okay, so look, we have a global variable which is x, we have a private variable which is y, and we have a local variable which is a. X is accessible inside this package body and outside this package body, whereas y is only accessible inside this package body, whereas a is only accessible inside this procedure. So that is the difference between x, y and a. Okay, so and then again this p1 is a public procedure that is defined, public procedure that is defined here inside this package body xyz. Then I have procedure p3, but look at the procedure p3. Procedure p3 is a special kind of procedure because I do not have a in my package specification, I do not have any mention about p3. So what procedure p3 is, essentially this is a private procedure. That means I can only call procedure p3 from any of this function like p1, any like procedure like p1 or functions f1. So procedure p3 is only accessible inside the scope of this body xyz. Okay, you cannot call procedure p3 outside this body. Then what I have defined procedure p2 because since I mentioned procedure P2, I must have an implementation. So the implementation of procedure P2 is coming here, and then so what I'm doing here inside this procedure P2, I'm calling P3. That is all right, because P3 is a private procedure inside package body XYZ. Since procedure P2 is a part of package body XYZ, therefore P3 can be called within procedure P2. Okay, so let's see, like, what is legal. Okay, you can call this function, this global variable outside the package. That means you go to your SQL prompt, and what you can do, you can write a anonymous block begin, and then what you can do, you can do dbms output put line, and then you just call this method, this variable, like xyz dot x. Okay, so and then end. So what is going to happen, this anonymous block is going to print 10, because since x is a packaged variable, I can access outside the package. However, I cannot do xyz dot y, because y is a private variable which is defined inside the package body. It can only be accessed in any of this function f1 or procedure p1, p3 or p2. Therefore that is not allowed. Okay, then go to SQL prompt, and you can basically execute xyz dot f1. That is fine, because f1 is a public function, and then you can execute in SQL prompt by this, by calling the package name dot function name. However, you cannot do execute xyz dot p3. Okay, because p3 is a private procedure, and this p3 is only accessible inside this package body. You cannot just do from outside. Okay, so this is what is called the rules, and then this is very intuitive, as I told, because whatever mentioned in the package specification, those are kind of global variable or global functions or public functions. Whatever is inside, those things are private, and those things can be only accessible inside the package body. So this basically leads us a very interesting thing about hiding the code. So what we can do, let's say we have a procedure p3 and p1 which is very important. We do not want to show this code to somewhere outside. What you can do, you can create this procedure p1 p3 as private procedure. That means you do not have to declare those things inside this create package, and then you can create a wrapper function or wrapper procedure from which you can from where you can call this procedure. Right, so therefore, like, even say for example, you say for another use case is that say p1 and p3 might change. If those things might change, then create those things as a private procedure or private function, and then call from something else. And because these are the functions, these are the procedure you are going to expose to outside world, that means the number of parameters or the data type cannot be changed. Like once you make those things are fixed, and other people, like, in this anonymous block, I'm going to call. So I don't want to go on and change this thing often. So instead, whatever is dynamic or whatever I don't want to show outside or I don't want to bother about, put those things as a private procedure or private function, and then you can create a wrapper around that and then expose that wrapper function to the outside world. And this is basically essentially, in our last video we are discussing about advantages of package, and this is one of the very important advantage. All right, and then Another case that we might need, say for example in this case, let's say we write a anonymous PLSQL block. In anonymous PLSQL blocks we have declare x as a number, and then we have begin and end, and inside we are going to write some statements and all this thing on PLSQL statement. So what you see, this x is only valid for execution of this PLSQL block. Once we are finishing this end, the x is gone. But is not is necessary that we should have some constant, or we have some variable which we want to keep all across the user session. That means, say let's say for example this is an user, he connects to the Oracle database and he wants to execute something. So and then he wants to connect, and in a SQL prompt he's trying to give some commands and all this thing, right? So if there are something that needs to be, that is a constant or that needs to be kept across the complete session, then what we can do, we can create a package with specification, like create package ABC, and then what you do, we give A number, B number, and C is a varchar2, and so on. Okay, so this is the end of package, end of ABC. And then look, like what we have done here, we just declare couple of variables, and what these variables are, these variables are called packaged variable or global variable. Okay, we do not have any functions. Since we do not have any functions or procedure, then we do not need to write any package body. Alright, so this is called bodiless package. So what is the use of bodiless package? The use of bodiless package is, whenever we want to create a variable and we want to make that variable persist across the complete user session, then let's create a package spec with couple of variable, and whenever you access first time that variable, all these things are loaded to your UGA, user global area of your uh, uh, user session. Okay, and then that is kept, those things are kept, and then those things can be accessible or can be also modified in that user session. So that is why we need a special kind of package where we just have only the spec, no body. So as we discussed last time, that we can have a the package specification is mandatory, but package body is not mandatory, and here is the case where we do not have any package body, we just have only a package specification. So this is all about the visibility rule that you need to understand.